Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today we covered 1.5 juz, so in case you felt the length of it, inshallah it'll be lighter for you later. Approximately 1.5, just short of 1.5 juz. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, we have covered many surahs, and there are so many beautiful gems that we have passed through. It's very hard to select something to discuss. But one of the very beautiful surahs we just passed through is Surah Yusuf. And in Surah Yusuf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions many beautiful lessons. Every single stage of the story. Please, we're requesting the brothers that are asking that they cannot hear, if you can keep it low in the lobby, inshallah. And there's very good weather outside. We can take our discussion outside, inshallah. Please keep the discussions outside the masjid, inshallah. And volunteers can close the doors of the masjid. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So in Surah Yusuf, this is such a beautiful story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself has given it with a superlative degree, has revealed in the ayah in the beginning. He said, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. We are revealing unto you the best of all stories. Allah himself is saying it's the best of all stories. So no one can argue with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this rating that this is the best story of all time. It's the Ahsan al-Qasas. And this was revealed upon the questioning of the Yahud. When the mushrikeen of Makkah, the unlettered, illiterate Arabs of Makkah, the Quraysh, on different occasions, they went to Medina where the Jews were living, and there was a seminary where they would train the rabbis called Baytul Midras. And this was a rabbinical school in Medina where the rabbis were trained. And they would go and ask the Jewish rabbis, can you give us some questions to ask this man who claims to be a prophet, so we can stump him and make him show, so that his failure becomes apparent upon the people and he will not be able to answer these questions. So they asked different questions on different times. That is how Surah Kahf was revealed, that we listened to tonight, we just heard. So one of the questions they came with from Medina, Medina before the Hijrah is known as Yathrib. They came from Yathrib with this question that Ibrahim alayhi salam, the forefather, the patriarch, his son Ismail alayhi salam, he settled him in Makkah. This is the question. And his other son Ishaq alayhi salam settled in Canaan, which is the area now Palestine, in Sham. So this is where Ishaq alayhi salam lived, and his son Yaqub alayhi salam lived there. Then he had 12 sons, those were the Bani Israel. They were based in Sham, they were based in Canaan, in Palestine. How is it in the time of Musa alayhi salam, then we find the Banu Israel are in Egypt and they're enslaved by Fir'aun and they are put to servitude of Fir'aun and his royal family. So how did this happen? How did the move occur? How did they move from Syria or Sham, Palestine to Egypt? This is such a random question about a move that occurred about a family centuries earlier to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How would he know about that? Unless, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was revealing it unto him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the entire Surah Yusuf. This is very unique in the sense that all of the other stories in the Quran are scattered. They're not in chronological order from beginning till end, with the notable exception of Yusuf alayhi salam's story. From the beginning till end, it is in chronological order. Whereas other stories, the objective is the lesson that we learn, not the story itself. So whichever lesson was going to be highlighted, وَكَذَلِكَ فَارَقْنَاهُ لِتَقْرَأُهُ عَلَى النَّاسِ عَلَى مُكْثٍ وَنَزَّلْنَاهُ تَنزِيلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have revealed the Quran in piecemeal. فَارَقْنَاهُ. Slowly I reveal it upon you based on the need of the time. So a part of the story, like Musa alayhi salam's story itself, is revealed in most of the juz of the Quran. You will find some part of the story Musa alayhi salam is scattered all over the place. It's not in one place. But this is the one exception. Yusuf alayhi salam's story is revealed in its entirety in Surah Yusuf. And as I said, it's the ultimate best story of all time. It has so many beautiful elements in it. It is the ultimate rags to riches story. Everyone likes the rags to riches story, how a poor man becomes a rich man and successful person. So we have in here jealousy, and we have a beautiful boy and father and the son relationship, how the father loves the son. Then the son is separated from the father because of the jealousy of the brothers. There's beautiful dreams that are seen and interpretations of those dreams. And then he is captured and sold into slavery, Yusuf alayhi salam, and he makes it to the palace of the governor of Egypt. And then there is seduction, and how the wife of the minister of the Aziz of Misr, Imra'atul Aziz, turabidu fataha an nafsi, how she tries to seduce him, and how he remains chaste and virtuous, and he abstains from that and tries to run away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابِ. Abwab is the plural of bab. She closed all the doors. Doors, and it's a plural, which means 3 or more doors. So the scholars of Tafsir, they mention that the type of structure that was built in the palace of the Aziz of Misr is such a structure which would be impossible to build nowadays. You would not get a building permit for it because it would break all kinds of violations of fire code. It was very, very unique in that if you can imagine for a moment, there's a hall, there's a door to outside. When you open the door, you go into this hall. Inside this hall is another room. It has a door. And you go into the second room. And then inside the second room, there's another hall, has a door. You go into the third room. Inside that room is another room, that has another door. Fourth room. Inside that fourth room is another room, has a door. Fifth room. Inside the fifth room, sixth room. Inside the sixth room, seventh room. So if there, in a case of fire, how far are you from the exterior to go out under the sky? 7 doors. So she locked 7 doors. وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابَ الْأَبْوَابَ سَبْعَةً. 7 doors she locked, and then she tried to seduce Yusuf alayhi salam inside, but he began to run away from her. And as he ran to the door and tried it, Allah opened the first door, then Allah opened the second door, Allah opened the third door, fourth door, fifth door, sixth door, 7 doors. And she is running after him and grabbing his shirt and pulling on his shirt, and his shirt tears from the back. وَاسْتَبَقَ الْبَابَ وَقَدَّتْ قَمِيصَهُ مِنْ دُبُرٍ. The shirt of Yusuf alayhi salam tears from the back. وَأَلْفَ يَا سَيِّدَهَا لَدَى الْبَابِ. And when they come out to the 7th door, out into broad daylight, they meet the husband. He is coming in at that time. Maybe he was not supposed to come in at that time, that's why she planned the action at that time. But unexpectedly, maybe they had some break at work, so he thought, let me go visit my wife to have lunch with her. But lo and behold, she is running after this Yusuf alayhi salam and coming out. So what does she say? She is caught red-handed, huffing and puffing in her passion, running after the slave. So what happens is, normally the process in law is, first there's an accusation of a crime. And after the crime, there's accusation, then there's presentation of evidence. After presentation of evidence goes through and cross-examination of that evidence and the witnesses. Then finally, somebody will be incriminated with the crime. After incrimination, a person is now convicted of the crime. Then the final and last thing is, what is it called? Sentencing. Sentencing is you determine what will the punishment be. So this is very interesting, is that when Al-Faya Sayyadaha Ladal Bab, qalat ma jaza'u man arada bi ahlika su. When she found her husband by the door, the first question she said is, Ma jaza'u man arada bi ahlika su. What should be the punishment? She jumped from accusation to presentation of evidence to incrimination to conviction. She jumped all those steps and she went straight to sentencing. What should be the punishment? Ma jaza'u. What should be the punishment? Man arada bi ahlika su. For the one who dares to assault your wife, lay a hand on your wife. Illa an yusjan aw adhabun alim. There's nothing besides he should be imprisoned or a dreadful torment. So Yusuf alayhi salam, he was in a very dire predicament, because she already is talking about sentencing. What's the punishment? Not even that did he do it or not, or he did it. Not accusation, sentencing. So he just said plainly, Hiya rawadatni an nafsi. She was the one trying to seduce me and trying to go after me. I was running away from her. But he has no evidence on his behalf, no one to testify. So this is one of those rare occasions. There are a number of occasions in the history where the baby spoke from the cradle. One of them we just heard that towards the end of the Taraweeh in Surah Maryam, is when Maryam alayhi salam came with her newborn baby, and she was very, very embarrassed. How am I going to face my people? But Allah Ta'ala told her, just point to the baby. When they said, Ya ukhta Haruna ma kana abuki imra'a saw'in wa ma kanat ummuki baghiya, that what is wrong with you? You come from such a virtuous family, and you are should be a chaste woman, and you have a child out of wedlock. Oh Maryam, what is wrong with you? How can you do that? So فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ, she pointed to the baby. They said, قَالُوا كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا. What is wrong with you? How can we talk to a baby who's just in the cradle, newborn infant? قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. He did not say Ibnullah. He said, قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. He said, I am the slave of Allah. آتَانِيَ الْكِتَابِ. He gave me the book, وَجَعَلَنِي نَبِيًّا. And He made me a Nabi. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. And He made me blessed wherever I will be. وَأَوْصَانِي بِالصَّلَاةِ وَالزَّكَاةِ مَا دُمْتُ حَيًّا. And He commanded me to perform salah and give zakat as long as I'm alive. وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِي. And He made me a good, noble and obedient child to my mother. وَلَمْ يَجْعَلْنِي جَبَّارًا. So that ayat is in Surah Maryam. So that is where a baby spoke. Another occasion, second occasion in the Quran where a baby spoke from the cradle is over here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. One baby spoke out from the cradle. Everyone paid attention. How is this baby speaking? So not only is the baby speaking, and is speaking such words of wisdom, really wise words that make sense, are logical. The baby said, إِن كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ قُبُلٍ فَصَدَقَتْ وَهُوَ مِنَ الْكَاذِبِينَ. That look at the shirt of Yusuf alayhi salam. If his shirt is torn from the front, that means he is ripping his clothes off. He is the one who is overcome by passion. So then she is truthful and he is lying. وَإِن كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ دُبُرٍ. And if his shirt is torn from the back, then how is he going to tear his shirt from the back himself? If that is the case, فَكَذَبَتْ وَهُوَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Then she is lying and he is truthful. So he passed the verdict. Just look at the shirt and the shirt will speak. Because the shirt is another recurring theme in Surah Yusuf. The shirt of Yusuf alayhi salam, in the beginning, the brothers, they took the shirt of Yusuf and dipped it in the blood, brought it to the father. وَجَاءُوا عَلَى قَمِيصِهِ بِدَمٍ كَذِبٍ. They forgot to tear the shirt. So the father, he asked them that, okay, you said that the wolf ate my son Yusuf. He nicely took off the shirt and then attacked him. How come the shirt is not torn? Right? So the shirt is there. The shirt comes here, plays a role here. Then the shirt at the end, Yusuf alayhi salam takes his shirt and gives it to the brothers and says, take my shirt. اذهبوا بقميصي هذا. Take my shirt. فألقوه على وجه أبي. Put it on the face of my father. يأتي بصيرا. He will begin to see again. So over here, he says, look at the shirt. And فَلَمَّا رَأَى قَمِيصَهُ. So now the husband, he says, okay, let me look at the shirt. This baby is speaking some wise words. He looks at the shirt. قُدَّ مِن دُبُرٍ. It is torn from the back. What is it's trouble? That means the slave is not at fault, the wife is at fault here. She's a traitor. And she was the one doing infidelity. So then he turns to her and says, قَالَ إِنَّهُ مِن كَيْدِكُنْ. Oh woman, this is from your evil plotting. إِنَّهُ مِن كَيْدِكُنْ. إِنَّ كَيْدَكُنَّ عَظِيمٌ. إِنَّ كَيْدَكُنَّ عَظِيمٌ. Verily your plotting is very great. So one point I recall now, that in our tafsir our class, Mufti Rada al-Hawsa mentioned that inna kayda kunna azim. He said many khatibs and speakers and wise, just to make their speech a little bit spicier or a little bit exciting or interesting, they compare this ayah wrongly. Keyword is wrong comparison with another ayah. And they say that here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, inna kayda kunna azim. Woman, your plotting is great. Your kayd is makar, your fareb, your plotting, and how you are, your basically evil scheming and designing. Making an evil design. Kayd over here means to make an evil plot and detailed plan of action, of revenge. This is called kayd. So Allah says here, inna kayda kunna azim. The plotting of women is very azim, great. If they want to bring a man down, destroy somebody, then they'll make such an intricate plan to destroy him and defame him publicly and hurt him in such ways that man cannot imagine. So the wa'idhi and those who give speeches, they compare this ayah with the other ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ كَيْدَ الشَّيْطَانِ كَانَ ضَعِيفًا. That the plotting of shaitan is weak. So some people are already laughing. You can see the comparison. And what is the conclusion they reach? They say, kayd ash-shaytani da'if. I know sisters are listening too, so it's okay. Relax. This is, I said, wrong comparison. But at first glance, it might seem right. Hey, it does make sense because Allah says, kayd ash-shaytani kana da'ifa. The plotting of shaitan is weak. And it says the plotting of woman is azim, strong and great. So therefore, ergo, thus, we reach the conclusion the plotting of woman is worse than shaitan. Shaitan se bhi aagi cheez hai. Huh? Na'udhu billah min zalik. So this is what people say. And then the men laugh at it. They say, oh wow, that's what a great point. Na'udhu billah. That is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. Because how do you respond to this comparison? Just to be politically correct, are we going to change the words of Allah? That's what the words of Allah are. So how do you, no, it just doesn't sound right. I don't like how it sounds because it's not fair to women. No, you have to have some substantiative response to this, something of substance. So the response to this is that these words are relative words. Azim means great and da'if means weak, yes. So it's a relative word, so you have to look at the context. Relative to what? Compared to what? So kaida shaytani kana da'ifa bin nisba ilallah. The plotting of shaitan is weak compared to the planning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaitan plans and plots, but his plotting and planning is weak compared to the planning of Allah. وَمَكَرُوا مَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. Allah's planning is stronger than, he outmaneuvers shaitan. He cannot plan beyond Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And over here when it's in كَيْدَ كُنَّ عَظِيمٌ بِالنِّسْبَةِ إِلَى كَيْدِكُمْ, that when Allah is saying here the planning and plotting of women is great, then this is with comparison not to shaitan, but comparing it to men. In general, men are simple-minded people. They have, they think linearly, straight line. And they're in many cases they are very straightforward. Whereas women, the way their mind works is scattered. They have different things at the same time they can plot. So if a woman is very much angry with someone and wants to bring someone down, then the way she will plot will be worse than that of a man. So kaida kunna azim is with respect to women compared to men, not compared to shaitan. Anyway, as I was just saying, this was not what I was going to even talk about. This was just on the way we were saying all of these things happen in Surah Yusuf. Their seduction, and he's saved from there. Then he ends up in jail. Then he meets his partners in jail, and they come with dreams again. He interprets their dreams. Finally, one of them goes to the court of the king, and after 9 years, he remembers Yusuf alayhi salam when the king has a dream. And Yusuf alayhi salam finally makes it to the king's palace, and then he becomes the treasurer of Egypt. And as he is the treasurer of Egypt, and the famine breaks out, as was predicted by Yusuf alayhi salam. So I cannot by any means cover the story. We have to take our own time to learn the story. Just one ayah is that from all of these lessons, the scholars of Tafsir say that what is the crux and the summary and the biggest, beautiful, most comprehensive ayah in a whole Surah Yusuf. So let us cover that one only and stop it at that for tonight. So they say it is this ayah. And where is this ayah? The stage of this ayah is when they had repeated meetings with Yusuf alayhi salam with his brothers. He is now the treasurer of Egypt, and he is next to the king in power. And on the third and final trip, he also has Binyamin with him now. They come and they say, Ya ayyuhal azizu massana wa ahlana ad-dur wa ji'na bi bida'atin muzzah. That, O minister of Egypt, we are afflicted, our family. فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلَ وَتَصَدَّقَ عَلَيْنَا. Please be charitable with us. We don't even have enough money to pay for the rations that we want, the food for our family. And they are in a very sad and sorrow state. Inna Allah yadzil mutasaddiqeen. If you're going to be kind with us, then Allah will reward you. So finally, Yusuf alayhi salam was given permission by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reveal his identity. So he reveals his identity. And how does he do so? By asking a question. He says, قَالَ هَلْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَا فَعَلْتُمْ بِيُوسُفَ وَأَخِيهِ. He says, do you know and do you remember what you did to Yusuf and his brother? He asked them a question. And then he gives the excuse in the same question. He gives them an excuse on their behalf. He says, إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. Back in the days when you were ignorant. Meaning, You would not do something like that now, you're good people. But jab ke tum jahil the, when you were ignorant, idh antum jahilun. When you were ignorant, do you remember back then? He doesn't want to embarrass them now. He has full right to embarrass them, right? They planned to kill him, assassinate him. They threw him into an abandoned well to be picked up by highway robbers who put him into slavery. And from slavery, he went to jail, spent 9 years in jail. And now he's telling them, do you remember what you did to Yusuf and his brother back when you were ignorant? So then they started thinking. And they started thinking really deeply. Who is speaking to us? How does anyone know what we did to Yusuf? And I already covered this before, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَمَا كُنْتَ لَدَيْهِمْ إِذَا اجْمَعُوا أَمْرَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَمْكُرُونَ. You were not present when they sat together and they plotted, the brothers. Even though you were not present when the son narrated his dream to the father. You were not present when the father told the son, don't tell your dream to your brothers. You were not present when the young boy told the dream. You were not present when Aziz and Misr bought him. You were not present when Zulaykha tried to seduce him. You were not present in the jail. You were not present everywhere. Every single scene, you were not present. But Allah Ta'ala picks that particular scene and says, you were not present when the brothers were plotting. Why? Because that was such a secret amongst the brothers and they were so embarrassed about it, they would not tell anyone. No one knows what they spoke about except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah is the one revealing unto you. Therefore, this is divine revelation. No other way you could have found out. So they're saying, how does this person know about what we did to Yusuf? And then they started thinking, and then they remembered the dream. They remembered the dream the brother had told them. What was the dream? The الشمس والقمر إني أرى أحد عشر كوكبا. I see 11 stars. والشمس والقمر, the sun and the moon, لي ساجدين, all prostrating to me. So and the son had, despite the advice of the father not to tell their brothers, he had told his brothers. So they knew that dream. And they knew that one day their brother, the one they threw in the well, will become a big person. So they started thinking, then they looked closely at him. They started looking closely at him. And they began to think, perhaps this may be the same Yusuf. This idea, this crazy idea started coming in their mind. And they said, قَالُوا أَإِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف. They said, are you yourself the same Yusuf? قَالَ أَنَا يُوسُفُ وَهَذَا أَخِي. Then Yusuf a.s. said, yes, I am Yusuf. And to further emphasize it, he said, هَذَا أَخِي, this is my brother Binyamin. Full brother. The other ones are half brothers. The other 10 are half brothers, and these 2 are full brothers. So he says, قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. So again, you might ask, where is the crux of the story of the whole Surah Yusuf? Where is the lesson? The lesson is here. This ayah, number 90. قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Indeed, Allah has done great favors upon us. The fact that I was in a jail, the fact that I was in the bottom well, no, he skips all that. Allah has done great favor upon us. And then he says, إِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرْ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. So this is the bottom line of the whole surah. إِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرْ. Whoever will adopt taqwa and will adopt sabr. 2 conditions. Will have taqwa, be conscious of Allah in every situation in life, in every test and trial that comes, have taqwa. But the thing is, it's not sufficient taqwa only. That if you have taqwa, then everything will be smooth for you in your life. Because you fear Allah, and Allah will be on your side. Not always. Allah is always going to be on your side, but Allah could be on your side by test of sabr too. So things might still go wrong. Yusuf a.s. from the beginning till end had taqwa, yet he got knocked around quite a bit in his life. A lot of problems he had. So the second key is وَيَصْبِرْ. You have to have sabr. You have to have taqwa in your life. Life will bring a lot of tests on in your way, in your path. You will find different challenges you have to overcome. Different obstacles will come your way. أَشَدُّ النَّاسِ بَلَاءً الْأَنْبِيَاء ثُمَّ الْأَمْثَلُ فَالْأَمْثَلُ مِنَ النَّاسِ. The severest trials upon the prophets, then those next in rank, then those next in rank. The closer Allah Ta'ala wants to bring you, the more tests and trials you will have to face. أشد الناس بلاء الأنبياء. The severest trials upon the Anbiya. ثم الأمثل, then those next in rank. ثم الأمثل, then those next in rank. So the tests and trials will come. What's the key? Taqwa and sabr. Continue to have taqwa in every circumstance. In the bottom of the well, have taqwa. In the jail, have taqwa. In the palace of Aziz and Misr, have taqwa. Now as the king, have taqwa. Now as the right hand of the king, you have taqwa. Have taqwa in every circumstance. And sabr. Be patient. Results might not come right away. Be ready for the long haul. Be ready for the result at the end. Continue to have sabr. Then what will happen? فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah will not let the reward of those who do good go to waste. This is the lesson from Surah Yusuf. At the end there is victory. And at the end, sabrun jameel. The reward of sabr is what? Sabr kapal meetha. It is beautiful. It is sweet ending at the end for those who are going to be patient. But there will be a test. So these brothers, they were so overcome with remorse. They said, Tallahi laqad atharak Allahu alayna wa in kunna lakhati'in. Definitely, we swear by Allah, Allah has elevated you and given you such a lofty position compared to us. We are sinners. And what does Yusuf alayhi salam say? He said he has the full authority to punish them and exact revenge. The Quran says, وَإِنْ عَاقَبْتُمْ فَعَاقِبُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا عُوقِبْتُمْ بِهِ. If someone hurts you, you have the full right to take revenge exactly how much you were hurt. وَلَئِنْ صَبَرْتُمْ لَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لِلصَّابِرِينَ. But if you're patient and forgive, it's much greater reward. So he forgives them. Not only does he forgive them, but he says, قَالَ لَا تَثْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. I do not blame you in the least. He does not even blame them. He says, that was just jahalat. It was jahalat overcame you, and that was it. I don't even blame you. No blame upon you. That is why the ulama of akhlaq, they talk about the different levels of akhlaq. One is that you have a lot of resources, you give a little bit of that in the path of Allah. Like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahih Hadith of Bukhari says, لا تحقرن من المعروف شيئا. Do not belittle and look down on any small good deed. Don't look down on even a small good deed. وَلَوْ أَن تَلْقَ أَخَاكَ بِوَجْهٍ تَلِقٍ. Even if you meet a Muslim brother with a smiling face. So the doctors tell us that smiling requires less muscles usage in smiling than frowning. Frowning is more muscles you use. Smiling is easier. So it's such an easy good deed. Don't make tahqir of that. And then he says, وَلَوْ أَن تُفْرِغْ مِن دَلْوِكَ لِأَخِيكَ الْمُسْتَسْقِي. Meaning, if you have a whole bucket of water and you give one sip of water, don't look down on that good deed. That means the loss for you was negligible. You just gave one sip and you still have a whole bucket for your need. So giving water and you have water. Giving food and you still have food. That is a good deed. That is akhlaq. Then giving all your food is a higher akhlaq. If you're full and you give your food away. And one is وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. Like Surah Al-Dahr, Allah Ta'ala mentions about Ali radiallahu anhu, Fatima radiallahu anha, Hassan and Hussein. Without suhoor, the whole day fasting, time for iftar, about to eat, they give it to the yatim when he comes begging on the door. Next day, without iftar, without suhoor, fasting all day, they got some money for iftar, they give it to the asir, the prisoner. Yatiman wa asira. Miskinan, yatim and asir. 3 days, continuous fast, no suhoor, no iftar. They're giving it away. So remain hungry and feed others. This is, what do you say, high akhlaq? Is this the highest level of akhlaq? No. There's a level of akhlaq that is higher than this. Higher than starving yourself and feeding others. What in the world could that be? And the reasoning behind it is al-ajru bi qadri nasab. The reward is proportionate to the sacrifice involved. Meaning, the scholars have concluded, even though this might be hard to imagine at first glance, that there is something harder than this, than remaining hungry and feeding. Isse bhi mushkil kaam hai, bada kaam hai. What is that? That is when somebody, seems, and when I mention it, you're going to say, that's so easy. The reality is so hard, that if somebody genuinely wronged you, to completely forgive that person from the bottom of one's heart is considered the highest form of akhlaq. Itna mushkil kaam hai. Because if you sit with yourself and you say, okay, I forgive him. Yeah, to say with your tongue is easy. But you have that the grudge in the heart. To genuinely, sincerely not have any grudge in the heart. Dil ko bilkul saaf kar le. Somebody hurt you in the worst manner and then you completely, genuinely forgive that person from the bottom of the heart is considered the highest level of akhlaq. Because it is the hardest thing to do. And this is what he did here. This is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those who pelted him, those who persecuted him, those who 3 years boycotted him in the Shayba Abi Talib, those who hurt him so much that he had to leave Makkah and he was crying when he left Makkah. And he said, Ya Makkah, innaki atyabul biladi ilayya, you are the most beloved earth to me. لولا أن أهلك أخرجوني منك ما خرجت منك قط. If it wasn't that the people of Makkah had expelled me from you, I would never leave you. O Makkah, he was crying and Allah revealed the ayah to console him. إن الذي فرض عليك القرآن لرادك إلى معاد. Allah will return you back one day. Don't worry, O my Habib. But when he came back, what did he say? He took this example of Yusuf alayhi salam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam akhlaq is higher than that of Yusuf alayhi salam. He doesn't need to, but he gave it as a reference. You know how our ulama, they give reference from the Quran? It's so beautiful. In the hadith, you see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives reference from the Quran. He says, "La aqulu lakum." The scholars, how they learn to give reference from the Quran, how we as students of knowledge give reference, we learn from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He gives reference, istishhad. He says, "La aqulu lakum illa kama qala Yusuf ibn Yaqub li ikhwatihi la tathriba alaykum al-yawm." He repeated the same words in Fath Makkah, 8th year of Makkah, when his armies, 10,000 soldiers entering from all sides, and no one is there to raise any voice against him. He is entering Makkah, triumphant, victorious, conqueror of the capital of Arabia, the religious capital, the political capital, the economic capital of Arabia. He enters into it, conquering it, and he says, "I will not say anything more to you than what Yusuf ibn Yaqub said to his brothers." And he said, "I repeat the same words, La tathriba alaykum al-yawm." No blame upon you today. Whoever stays in his home will be safe. Whoever stays in the haram will be safe. Whoever stays in the home of Abu Sufyan will be safe. Yaghfirullahu lakum, may Allah forgive you. This is very, very difficult thing. If you think back, somebody who hurt us, and we actually forgive them from the bottom of our heart, this is something which requires akhlaq, to be a kareem. Kareem, to be a generous person. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Do you know Manil Kareem, who is a generous person? Who is a noble person?" The Sahaba said, "You tell us." He said, "Kareem, Ibnul Kareem, Ibnul Kareem, Ibnul Khalil, Yusuf, Ibn Yaqub, Ibn Ishaq, Ibn Ibrahim, alayhimus salam." May Allah's salawat be upon all of them. He said, he was a noble man. Noble Yusuf, son of noble Yaqub, son of noble Ishaq, son of Khalilullah, friend of Allah, Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is the true character we have to get. And he continues, just the forgiveness. This forgiveness and this attitude he has is that when he meets, I conclude the time is up, when he meets his parents in the next section, in the next scene, when his parents come and meet him, وَرَفَعَ أَبَوَيْهِ عَلَى الْعَرْشِ وَخَرُّوا لَهُ سُجَّدًا, they all make, the whole family is reunited. When he talks to his father, he could tell him so many things. "Oh, my father, do you know what my brothers did? They threw me in the well. Oh, my father, I was in the jail. Oh, my father, I was made a prisoner. Oh, my father, I was sold in slavery. Oh, my father, then I was put in jail for 9 years." He doesn't say all that. He says, "Ya abati, هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل قد جعلها ربي حقا." Look, this is the interpretation of my dream. Allah made it come into reality. We are all here together. And he remembers only the good. He says, وَقَدْ أَحْسَنَ بِي إِذْ أَخْرَجَنِي مِنَ السِّجْنِ. Allah was good with me when He took me out of the jail. How do you come out of the jail without going into the jail first? So going into the jail, doesn't mention it. Coming out of the jail, he mentions. أَحْسَنَ بِي, He was good with me إِذْ أَخْرَجَنِي مِنَ السِّجْنِ, when He took me out of the jail. وَجَاءَ بِكُم مِّنَ الْبَدْوِ, and He brought you back from the outskirts where you were living a harsh life, now into the city. مِن بَعْدِ أَن نَزَغَ الشَّيْطَانُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ إِخْوَتِي. This was after shaitan caused my brothers, had created a rift between me and my brothers. Meaning, he's not blaming the brothers, he's just blaming shaitan. He said shaitan had caused some rift, and it was shaitan's fault. But now, alhamdulillah, we are united. إِنَّ رَبِّي لَطِيفٌ لِمَا يَشَاءُ. We already learned yesterday in the lesson, وقال الشيطان لما قضي الأمر إن الله وعدكم وعد الحق ووعدتكم فأخلفتكم وما كان لي عليكم من سلطان إلا أن دعوتكم فاستجبتم لي. The shaitan on the day of judgment, what will he say? "Don't blame me, blame yourselves. I did not compel you, I did not move your hand. I just gave you an idea." So the Quran says that is, whose fault is it? Is it shaitan's fault or our fault? It's the sinner's fault, not the shaitan's fault. But what is Yusuf alayhi salam saying? He just says it's shaitan's fault. What does this mean? This means that there's two sides to many issues like this. There's two approaches. One is the approach you are supposed to have, an outsider, and one is the actual perpetrator. When you see someone committing a sin, you could say, okay, pass it on to shaitan. Don't say you are a criminal and catch him. This is what Yusuf alayhi salam said. "Min ba'di an nazagha shaytanu bayni wa bayna ikhwati." Oh, shaitan caused the problem. But the one who is committing the sin, he cannot blame shaitan. He has to blame himself. This is the problem. We take the wrong idea and we apply it incorrectly. So the adab is, when someone else commits a sin, we could blame shaitan. When we ourselves commit a sin, then we don't blame shaitan, we blame ourselves. This is the correct way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq, give us the akhlaq of Yusuf alayhi salam, and give us taqwa and sabr, so we are able to be successful in all tests in life. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khair. If we request the students, inshallah, to come close, we're going to have Sheikh Hisham Qaisi is here. We have a short Q&A session with him. Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward him for coming. And then after that, we'll have basketball or any other activity that the students want. So we request the students to come close to the mimbar here, inshallah, so that we can start our program right now. Inshallah.
Please take your water bottles with you. Brothers, do not leave your water bottles in the masjid. Then I have to go around and pick up all the water bottles. Please be kind and take your water bottles with you. If you see other people's water bottles, don't worry, you can pick them up too.